I'll call this meeting to order. It is Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. It's 10:30, and we're here to discuss ambulance loans for Ambulance Service District. And I will turn it over to Chief Dietrich, who called the meeting.
Okay, sounds good. So we currently have 4 ambulances that we already have placed an order for. There was a lot of confusion, from what I understand, between not only myself but the advisory board and the county when all the finances got switched. I'm still not 100% clear where all that confusion was, but the advisory board thought that they had more money than actually was in the bank. So when they ordered these ambulances, they thought they had the cash to purchase them all.
Okay.
We have since learned that's not the case. So start with our current fleet. So we currently own, I put 5 ambulances on here. There's actually one that's not accounted for. We actually technically own 6.
Okay.
2 of them are newer. So the V12 and V14, they're a 2022 and a 2024. Okay. But even the 2022 already has 84,000 miles on it. So they're building up miles quick. The other ambulances are just worn out. One of them currently that's not listed on here is at Shoshone Medical Center. Mm-hmm. They are using it just to transport patients from the ER to the helicopter pad. Okay. When they need. So we're not using that for the ambulance service right now, so I didn't include that. Evan, the mechanic that is managing or taking care of all these for us, he even was at the advisory meeting this last week, and it's like he can't keep the older ambulances on the road. They're constantly breaking down. So we definitely need to get them replaced. Unfortunately, without having the cash in the bank like we thought, in order to keep all 4 of the new ambulances that are on order, we're going to have to go out for a loan for them if you guys approve that. 2 of the ambulances, we have 4 ambulances coming. They're from 2 separate manufacturers. The first 2, what are V15 and V16, are coming from Horton. Those are supposed to be arriving sometime late summer or early fall of this year.
Okay, so the Horton, yeah, okay. Those are the ones that were ordered like.
Yeah, they were 2 years ago. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Horton.
Now, the first one, V15, is the one that we got the grant for part of it. So we received $192,307 and some change for that one. That money is still sitting in the bank. Okay. So currently what we'll owe on that one after the grant is the $99,091. V16, the other Horton, we don't have any grant money for that one, so it's the full price, and that one's we owe the $318,000.
Okay, so do we have the cash for that one?
No, we don't have the cash for any of these. So either we're gonna have to take out a loan or we're gonna have to cancel them. It's kind of where we're at.
So we don't have cash for V16 or 15.
No, part of that was the budget confusion. So okay. The last year's budget, we were operating under around a $2 million budget. Mm-hmm. We're only bringing in like 1.2. And so a lot of the money that we should have spent for these ambulances were spent on other things because we thought we had more in the budget or more available. So yeah, we're pretty strapped budget-wise.
Okay.
So what happened, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe, was in the projected revenue, some grants, some of the COVID money funding was counted in that projected revenue. And so they thought that was going to be their revenue.
Okay, so
it was only a one-time deal. Mm-hmm. That there were some one-time grants that were counted into that projected revenue.
And then the other thing that happened with that grant money, because of the error in the budget projections, that money was being spent on operating, expenses because there just wasn't the other funds. And the advisory board didn't realize that money was already being spent. They thought it was sitting in the bank. Okay. So the money that they thought was in the bank is no longer in the bank. Okay, so then V17 and V18 are both coming from Braun Northwest out of Seattle area. Mm-hmm. They will arrive in spring of 26. So all 4 of these will be either depends when the first two come, if it's this budget year, but more likely they'll probably all be here over the next budget year. So all 4 will come in one budget year if we don't get them before October, the first 2.
Okay. Now V17 and V18, how hard would that be are they cancelable? I mean, are they?
I haven't actually asked.
Okay.
Only because, I mean, we drastically need them to keep the fleet on the road, because the other ones are just beyond their service dates.
Okay. Now 15 and 16. So you have
So yeah,
you have 2 ambulances that are full time, right?
Mm-hmm.
yes,
And then you have a third out and a fourth out.
yeah, and there's been a couple times this month where we've actually had all 5 ambulances on the road running calls. So
And are they all ALS or are there some BLS?
they sometimes respond as BLS.
Mm-hmm.
They have most of the equipment for ALS on all of them, but they don't all have all of the ALS gear. But they have enough if there's a paramedic available that they can function as a medic, just not with the full set of gear.
And then the new ones ordered, are they all ALS?
Well, when you order the ambulance, it doesn't come with equipment. This
So
is
you're
just
just
the
moving
ambulance.
it.
So we'll be moving stuff from our current ambulances
Okay.
to the new ones. So they'll be set up the same as they are now, equipment-wise, just new vehicles. And then Evan was saying the mechanic was saying at the last meeting, there's a couple ambulances where the actual boxes are starting to delaminate. The boxes are actually physically starting to come apart, and that's not repairable.
And those are they Hortons that's happened to?
No, that's I think a lot of those were the bronze as well that they purchased back in like 14 and 16.
Okay.
Because we only have the one Horton, and it's the second newest one.
Okay.
So on the V17 and the V18, when were those?
From where they actually ordered,
Yeah.
they were. I think they were ordered this last fall.
Okay. I think somebody had said November, but I'm not.
That sounds about right.
Okay.
I don't have the exact date. I didn't bring that with me.
And though no one's here from the advisory board, there's confusion there as well. It seems nobody came to the OCC
Mm-hmm.
for that approval on those orders on the last 2. I couldn't find any meeting minutes, and I wasn't here. So
I know I did not come here. I was told by the advisory board to place an order.
okay.
All right, and then with that being said, I reached out to 4 different institutions to find out about what the options are of getting a loan for the full. So right now, what we'll owe for all 4, if we keep them all, we will owe $867,120. It's at the bottom of your sheet there. So I looked for a loan for just that amount, not the full purchase price of the ambulances, just what we still owe. Because like on V17 and V18, we've already paid for the chassis on both of those, which were $61,000 each. So we've already paid part of that on those 2. But I reached out to U.S. Bank, Mountain West. I can't remember the name of the credit union in Osborne, but I went to that. And then also Zion's Public Financing, which I talked to them when I was at the Idaho Fire Chiefs Conference. So the 2 that came back with the best rates were U.S. Bank and Zion. So those are the only 2 I put on here. But the best rate is U.S. Bank, the first one. It's 4.55% for a 7-year loan. That'll get a payment of $147,420. And in preparing for next year's budget, we can afford that payment in the budget.
One of the problems we have is Idaho Constitution does not allow the county to go into debt, and so we would have to. I would have to make sure that we can't go into debt for up to 1 year. It can't be. So I'd have, that would have to, any of that would have to be, legal to have to review that. But I don't think we can get a 7-year loan. It would have to be year by year. And like I said, I'd have to talk to Ben. Now on the two, the V17 and V18, you said we've already put $61,000 a piece on them.
Yep, and that's also at the end of that page. That page too.
Do you
The
know when
last two
that
lines.
happened?
I don't have the exact
Okay.
date when that happened.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
but you get a discount. I don't remember how much the discount was, but you get a discount if you pay for the chassis as soon as the ambulance company gets the chassis. So as soon as they arrive, we paid for those to get the discount. And I have not contacted either Horton or Braun to find out what the penalty would be or if we cancel the order. I don't know if I have no idea.
Okay. I would like to know that.
Mhm.
That would be something that we probably need to look at. Also, now I'm not really into the ambulance service district, but what is the call volume for each department? What's your average call volume?
I would have to get that.
Okay. Because I'd like to know the average.
I would be guessing. I don't want to give
Okay.
you a guess. I can give you exact numbers.
Okay. What I want to know is the average call volume. How many times the third and fourth ambulances go out per month or per year? And then how many transports are we doing per month, per year?
And if there's a way to figure out too what the operating cost is per mile for an ambulance, just when we're doing longer transports and.
Okay. And so you said that the ambulance service could afford a payment of how much per year?
Yeah. So the payment for the U.S. Bank, which is the cheapest one, the payment for that loan would be $147,421.04. And so I put that number into the proposed budget just so we have that secured.
And that
We can cover that.
you can cover that. Can we cover more? I would have
Not.
to probably bring
It would be
Timmy in.
really stretching it to cover more. Because we were actually shooting for like the $120,000 mark, and then it ended up being the 147, and we were able to manipulate numbers, but I don't think we can cover more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if we could, maybe like 150, but we can't cover much more.
Okay.
And I did a little research. According to the Kootenai County EMS service, they utilize around 15 ambulances, with 9 being staffed 24/7, with a population of 185,000 people. That is an ambulance per 12,333 people. If all 15 were in service, we only have 14,000 people county-wide. So I guess my issue is, how do we justify all these ambulances?
The other
all these
advantage that
ambulances?
Kootenai has over us is much, much shorter transport times.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 of the ambulances in Kootenai County, if you take out like the Harrison and the Worley and the up in Athol, I mean 4 of them, their average transport time is 7 minutes. Our transports, I mean, just like today, right now we have 2 ambulances going to Kootenai Health.
Mm-hmm.
We transport to Kootenai a lot. About a third of our transports are not going to Shoshone. They're going straight to Kootenai.
Yep.
And that doesn't count the transports that we're taking out of Shoshone for interfacility transports. So our transport times are much longer. And so we're oftentimes having to staff that 3rd and 4th out ambulance to backfill while our ambulances are gone. Well, Kootenai doesn't have that as much.
Right. And then with the transports to Kootenai, do you usually try to use the BLS rather than the ALS?
It completely depends what the hospital's
That's-
requesting. They will request either a paramedic level transport or a basic level transport. But the ambulances are the same. It makes no difference for the ambulance.
Okay.
That just depends what crew goes.
Okay.
But the ambulances are all
They're
equipped
all,
ALS.
they're all,
At least the
Okay.
frontline ambulances are.
okay.
Yeah, we try to set them all up as much as we can. That way, if there happens to be that 4th or 5th call and a off-duty person comes in that happens to be a medic and the patient needs a paramedic, that way they can function. So we really try to keep them all. But all of that equipment for the ALS program, that's all already been purchased, and that will carry over to whatever ambulances we put them in.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not locked into a specific ambulance.
Now, do we have enough full-time employees to staff a third and fourth out
With volunteers.
with volunteers? Okay.
Yes.
Those third and fourth out are volunteers.
It's a combination of both. So we'll whenever we have 2 ambulances on an incident, we'll send pages out to all the off-duty people and volunteers saying we need to restaff another ambulance. And it's just who comes in, because we're not paying anybody to be on call.
Yeah.
So it's if they come in, they come in. And then if that ambulance ends up on a call, we do the same thing and staff the third or the fourth and do the same thing for the fifth. Okay. So it'll be sometimes all volunteers, sometimes it'll be all career, sometimes it'll be a mix. It just depends who answers the call.
Okay. And transports, are the same thing, or do you guys transport? Well, I guess
for just a transport, like from here to Kootenai or here to Spokane, which is the normal duty crews, and then we'll restaff an ambulance the same way if we need to.
Okay.
If it's a transport like to Seattle or to Missoula or longer distance, which we do occasionally, we'll actually call people in off duty and try to staff it before we send the ambulance out.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I'd just like to have a little more information on it, and then I'd also like to discuss with our legal what our options are with loans and how.
Yeah, we definitely want to make sure we're following.
Yeah,
And I'm still trying to find out where the V17 and V18 were approved by the BOCC.
Okay. Now on the V17 and V18, can we get some kind of an answer on what happens if we didn't?
Yeah, I will contact my sales rep.
Okay,
find out.
if we can do that. Okay. All right. Do you have any other further questions?
No,
Okay.
I think, and then just to let you know, with when I asked about the operating costs, because I know you guys do some pretty long transports sometimes, and when you do charge, maybe that would kind of give a better idea, on that end too. Is it worth it? Are you
for the
even?
longer transports?
Yes.
No. The interfacility transports, we actually make a higher percentage rate than we do 911 calls.
Okay.
We make more money on the interfacilities.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Shoshone they contacted me probably 6-7 weeks ago now, and we're actually working with the medical directors there. They're trying to get us to take more patients out of FSMC right now that currently they're being transported by Kootenai County EMS or Life Flight. So they're trying to add some more medications to our scope because they're having to wait too long for units across the hill to come over. Okay. So within the next few months, we'll probably actually increase the number of transports we're taking out of Shoshone, which will leave more time when we have to staff other ambulances.
Okay. Yeah, and what I'll do is I kind of want to get with Tammy too, to see where we're at with everything, to make sure that just on that end, see what Tammy's got to say on that too. So, do we have any public comment?
Yes, it was, I can't remember how long ago, it was presented to you guys that these ambulances, people were waiting in line, it was no big deal to sit, that somebody else would take them. It was by the board, I think, when they came in here, so I don't know if that's still the case or not, but that was presented to you. And also to cover that $147,000 a year payment, you must be just at your max on your levy rate.
Yeah, our levy rates. Yeah, our budget's maxed out with what we're bringing in between the levy and the billing.
Okay.
So you'd be looking close to, I don't know what it was last year, $425,000 roughly your budget, or what you're levying for, would be up to close to $600,000 for 7 years.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? No, nothing further. Any other questions, or do you have any other questions? Okay. Well, we'll continue this. See if we can get it in next week. So if we can, and you can get with Scott or Chief Dietrich to make sure that he's got time, and pick a time that he can come in, and we'll reevaluate it. Is that all right? Okay with you, Commissioner?
Yes.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you
Thank you very
both.
much.
Appreciate it.